Everybody, Big Jim Country Boy here. Check out my new t-shirt. Displays my big giant hot dog I cooked over a campfire. Isn't that beautiful? I got a bunch of other shirts you can check out, coffee mugs and sweatshirts, hoodies, and everything. I'll leave a link down in the description to the merch store. Until next time, Big Jim Country Boy, over and out. Hey everybody, Big Jim Country Boy here. And I'm up here by the driveway, front of the house. We're going to start here with a garden greenhouse update. There's the whiskey barrel we made. We moved it over to here because the brassicas didn't like the full sun so much. We have some broccoli coming in. These are some hanging pots. And that black hose there is some drip irrigation we hooked up to help out for days I'm working, so they can get water early before the high heat and sun of the summer. There's a small head of broccoli starting to flower. There's another one coming in. Some tomato plants in here also, potato plants. There's a vine of something in there, maybe sweet potatoes. Not looking so good. Some of them are crowding out the others. But that's 3 hanging baskets so far. 3 garbage cans and a half a whiskey barrel. We come around the other side of the shed here. We have some corn. It's kind of weird. It's getting like ears at the top where the tassel should have been. I think it was in the tray too long, the small 72 cell trays, because I planted it way back in February. And it's only been in the ground here for like a month or so. And then in between the holes of the blocks, we got green beans growing also. Mint. It was from last year or the year before. More green beans out there. Some cabbages and broccolis. That's a tomato plant. So we added these garden beds in this year, are all new after this point here, I believe. So we have some Napa cabbage, onions, some peas that run along the back here following that drip irrigation line, and then some more here. I didn't want to, but I did spray some 7 pesticide on this because there's little slugs and snails eating it when it rains. I got to do something again. You can see there's one there. That's what they are, hard shell snails. So I don't know if that 7 stuff's supposed to kill them or not. I didn't see it on the list. I thought it said something about slugs, but I don't know. But this is a brand new garden bed this year. It's approximately 8 feet by 2.5 at one end, maybe a foot at the other end. And then the same down here. Some young pepper plants and some more Napa cabbage. So then we got this row of flowers that goes down along our busted stairway here. Petunias. And then here we have some cauliflower, potato, more onions, different kinds of squashes. We planted like 8 different kinds this year. A lot of winter squash, like mashed potato, baked potato squash. I said mashed potato squash, spaghetti squash, yellow zucchini, green zucchini, dark green zucchini, a couple different kinds of yellow, some marigolds in here. There's some sweet potatoes growing there, I think, or maybe they're green beans. They're green beans. The leaves look similar. And then in here we planted rutabagas. I started from seed and then put the plants in there taken. And then more squash here. That's a little cucumber plant right there. The tomato plants, we got some rain last night, fell over. They got to be tied up yet. I got to cut some stakes. Here's some more squash. There's an eggplant in here, some brassicas, I think it's broccoli, more tomato plants of different varieties. All in all, we planted like 70 tomato plants around the area. This is a Gala apple tree. As you can see in my air layering video, we reproduced that and made another tree for free. So the other side of the steps here is our greenhouse. And if you look here, potatoes in a bucket. And then this black plastic we got lined up with pepper plants. There's a tomato plant, a watermelon plant. And then along the fence right there, I can zoom in, is some green beans. And then on the other side of the fence where we put leaves in our other video to help keep the tarp for the greenhouse down and the cold air out from under it, we do an experiment growing potatoes and just leaves. They look pretty good there. So what we're going to do now, pause this for a second. This is the other side of the steps by the driveway. There's garden beds that are new. We're going to go back up and look at them. Here's some more potato plants, 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. And there's a 4th one. And then here's some kind of melon or squash I planted. I think they're a melon, Super Bowl melon or something. Peach melon. I planted so many things I don't know. I should have labeled it, but should have videoed planting it actually. Then I'd have a video log. But there's some more squash running across here. And then this is a new 4-foot by 12-foot garden bed here. And that's full of squash and cauliflower and red cabbage and broccoli and tomatoes and sweet potatoes and cucumbers. And this is another one about a duplicate size, but this one's a little wider. This one's like 5 by 12. And there's some broccoli we harvested already. And there's squash and stuff planted here with mint in the rocks. Just planted between the rocks. I threw some potting soil down to bury the plants I started in the greenhouse. And then there's a row of radishes that goes in right there. Follows that 4x4 down that way. There's the radish tops. But we got some other containers there. Let's go up top and take a look at them. I was going to pause it, but I'm not. I want you to just kind of understand how this is laid out. So we're going to go up the steps and go to the left or the right now facing me. This is where the whiskey barrel was. I moved it and I took a cardboard box, lined it with a plastic liner with a hole in it, and planted some squash, tomato plant, and some cucumbers. There's the gladiolas coming up, and how to keep the squirrels from eating your bulbs. They're still the ones that were in the chicken wire. There's the tomato plant. I know it's shady here, but these are green beans, just to see how they grow. We got some stuff in partial shade, some stuff in the shade, some stuff in full sun. This is a mulberry tree we planted way back when in one of our other videos. It's about 30 feet tall now, at least 20 some feet tall. And now we're up on top of the flower bed along the driveway here. See, there's the containers I just showed you. This cabbage is doing pretty good in the shade, but it's a little slower than the rest, which is all right. I don't want it all at one time anyway. And there's a tomato plant we're tying to our shepherd's hook. This has got pretty cool solar light in it. Looks pretty cool at night. I got that at Big Lots. Not that they're a sponsor. I'm telling you in case somebody wants to go get one. So this bed turns here. Now this is the top of the other ones I just showed you. There's all kinds of squash and stuff coming in. There's a couple heads of cabbage in here, a tomato plant, squash plant. This is for people with limited space. And then I got drip irrigation running through here too. And then I just worked 3 days, 10-hour days for my job. And this stuff just goes real quick. That grew up and started to bloom in the last 3 days when I was busy. We go around the other side of the car. Okay. So here's the other view. See, there's the broccoli that got out of hand. Now, for those of you who don't know or maybe new at gardening, when I cut this, I'm going to cut it off right here. Take this off. And then all these intersections will grow another sprout of broccoli similar to this size here that can be harvested and eaten. The leaves are edible too, and the stalks. There's a couple of zucchini coming in right there. Sorry, I'm trying to zoom out. Screen protectors make things go a little slow sometimes. So then there's some red cabbage. This is in the shade most of the day. This is why we put our brassicas over here. Helps battle the heat in the hot of the summer. We had some 90-degree days already this year. Put a wilt on them. Somebody has to spray them down with cool water when that happens to keep them going. And then there's some more melons just past there that we just added. That one and that one right there. And then if you see this, why we got a bird's eye view, this is the pepper plants I showed you earlier in this video down along the greenhouse where we put the potatoes in the leaves. And then I'll show you from the other angle, but from here back down in here we got potatoes growing. These are cucumber vines here. We put potatoes in along here. They're right there. That's all potatoes down over here. A couple tomato plants and pepper plants in there too. And then if you look at the front of my house from here, I have all these hanging baskets with mini gardens in each one of them. So let's go down and take a look at the other stuff down there. I gave away 3 of those baskets to a friend from work. We're on the way down the steps again. In the first bed I showed you, I forgot to show you, I bought horseradish. This is horseradish coming up. I got 2 spots of it. There's another one down here under this squash someplace. It's getting out of hand. Maybe I'll just rip some of them out and throw them away. Somewhere's in here there's a tongue depressor that says horseradish on it. I think it's up in the back here someplace. So anyway, let's get back to the rest of the garden. Here's another hanging basket. Tomato plant and some squash. These are great space savers. They do need a lot of water. A couple times a day maybe. Unless you're going to hook up drip irrigation. Down here we got onions planted. More tomato plants. Squash. Don't mind that. I know it looks like garbage, but it's all my potting containers. I just threw them over the fence so the wind don't take them away while the greenhouse is open for the summer. There's green beans in there. And then you can see this squash is blooming nice. Then we're about 10 foot from the other pot. Here's another hanging basket. And then I have this feed bucket. We use mineral bucket for cattle as a mini garden. There's potatoes coming out of the side here. This tomato plant's come right out of the basket and up over the fence here. By the cluster here, it looks like it's going to be a cherry tomato variety. Very big plant though. Here's another one I got to tie up that fell over. There's two plants right here by this pole. That's what's left of my radishes I put in a flavored water box and grew. There's another bucket with potatoes. I got this pot back here with potatoes. And that black bucket there. These are green beans taken off. Look at them right up through the metal fence. They love that chicken wire. Red cabbage. This is some more squash. Cucumbers. More Napa cabbage. Starting to form a head. Here's some more seedling stuff I got to get in the ground. They're pepper plants growing. I forget what that lost soldier is. It's either a cucumber or zucchini. That's a watermelon. And then I got some little tomato plants growing right now. And then that's a triple L tomato plant. We're going to show you more of them in the future. We're growing. It's a new one. And that's a truckload watermelon variety, watermelon plant. These are some kind of shamrock hollyhock flowers or something. And I believe this is young broccoli in the back here for the next planting. And these are carrots started in pots. We're going to transplant them later when we take out broccoli or something and have more room. Bunch of the cabbage maybe. Down here is some more seedlings started. That's all cucumber there in a yellow tray. The other yellow tray is rutabagas. That's carrots and rutabagas in that one. Beets, onions for next year. Then we got some green beans and tomato plant in the back. Another tomato plant. And then another tomato plant. Another tomato plant. And over here we got some squash. And then here's one of my hanging baskets. And then you can see this is a Sweet 100 cherry tomatoes. I've eaten a handful of them already. They're still coming in good. It's only what, June 13th today. Buyer beware. They sell these things with a little valve that screws on the bottom of a bottle for drip irrigation, and then you have to punch a hole in here so that it drips out, and it's supposed to drip like every 45 seconds to last for 2 days, but you can't slow them down that much, and they don't work. They're a pain in the butt to refill with a hole in the bottle. There's one that's been there for a couple weeks and it still has water in it, so they just don't work. Don't waste your money on them. That's cucumber plants. I'm going to have them grow up this black rope here. If if you can see it, to the top of the greenhouse. That tomato plant I tied back. There's more cucumber and green beans glowing along the side there. And then in the back of this pot, which has broccoli or something, maybe Brussels sprouts, I don't know what this is, carrots, purple green bean variety in there. There's a Napa cabbage down there. I gotta try not to step on it when I put my foot in here. I'll show you. I've been picking handfuls of these every few days from a couple plants I have. But the funny thing is, you cook them, they turn green. They're very crisp. See how it snaps right off? They taste kind of almost like a hint of berry flavor to them. There's the pepper plants, purple cabbage. It's been over 135 in this greenhouse already this year when it hits the 90 about so outside. Even with all the windows like that, 6 of them open, and the whole big doorway open. It gets hot in here in the sun. What else can I show you? I guess we got to go this way. Exit the greenhouse. Past this we saw already. This is the other side of the greenhouse. We have a bunch of tomato plants planted here. Another hanging pot. Here's where I put some stuff outside, hanging pots and seedlings I'm taking attention to. And then here's another little mini garden, about 4 foot by 3 foot. Has some Napa cabbage in it, regular cabbage, broccoli, marigolds, eggplant, squash, a tomato plant. Here's a close-up of the plants on half the house. Apologize if I'm breathing heavy and the phone's picking it up. These new phones got very good audio and video, but I get winded easy since I had that bovine 19. This is just another space saver. This is a bunch of salad greens and turnip greens and kale. I planted in a box in potting soil. Now it don't look good now because I just clipped it over 3 days ago. I clipped it all off for salad greens, but it keeps growing back. You can see there's a nice tomato coming in on that plant that's hanging in a hanging basket. It's a little bigger than a golf ball already. Now, the idea is these branches get heavy, they'll hang and save space. Like this one. If you can see it, comes out of that pot and hangs down, and then the leaves turn upwards again. And they grow that way, like that topsy-turvy thing they used to have. But I got these hanging baskets at the Dollar Tree. There's one under the peach tree in the shade just to see how it does. It's slower, but it's growing. Here's one that's fallen down from the rain. Branch comes down that way, then the other branch comes off this way. One there, one there. And then this is where I showed all the potatoes and cucumbers I got growing here behind the greenhouse. And if you look up there, that's where we were, up there by the cars. So then behind me I got some petunias that are starting to bloom. They got to be planted down there. Got 3 trays like that under here. That's rutabagas. The bugs are eating them under the table there. More marigolds. And a lot of garbage to clean up. This one's cabbage with a pepper plant in it. Then here we have these pots we got at the Dollar Tree that stack, and we're trying to make a tree out of tomato plants, but don't go more than 4 or 5 high because they fall over unless you find a way to fasten them. Then here's another plant. It's probably at least 3 feet tall, little tomatoes on it. That one's got zucchini squash coming in. This one here is hanging down big time out of there. See, it's hard to see, but here's a nice limb with some tomatoes. These are big lilies that come up every year. They drop seeds that look like black little berries, I guess. There's a tomato plant in a flower bed. There's one back there. There's a whole row of them along here. And then here's some more of those beans in a hanging pot with a tomato plant. This is a plum tree. And then used to the pot, we planted some cucumbers or watermelon or pumpkin or something there. Cucumbers are under the red cabbage plant there. Tomato, eggplant. Then there's tomato plants and cabbage plants along here. The squash filled out so much in the last couple of days it's covering up the cabbage on the left. There's tomato plants in the back line here. And carrots. There's a head of cabbage forming. Yeah, I can find it on the lens. I got a glare on my eyes. There's another one. That's that Napa Chinese variety. There's a third. Carrots growing in here. That's spinach growing right there. Once this wood pile's gone, I'm not putting it back there. That's like prime real estate here for sunny gardening space. So this is a row of spinach. Here's another one. Looks like I might have heard it a little bit when I hoed the weeds. Then there's carrots again. Another thin row of carrots. Some red cabbage. Pepper plant. Tomato plant. Green beans in the back under the shade of the little mini cherry tree we have. Oh, I almost forgot. This is a fruit salad tree. It's got like 5 kinds of fruit on it. I think pears and plums, strawberries, and that's a cucumber or a vine melon or something there. We'll see when it gets bigger. I put all this sod in here this year. Dress it up a little bit. Looks pretty nice. It's a high traffic area, so it's hard to get them to stick to the sidewalk, but we have to. Here it's getting beat down already as it turns this way. There's a row of beets along the front here. Daikon radishes. More Napa cabbage, red cabbage, pepper plant with some kind of pest on it. Not sure what that is. If anybody knows, leave me a message in the comments there. Some kind of flying yellow creature. Looks like yellow and black. Looks like it'd be a nice trout fly. And there's one of those white ones with a black spot on them we always chased when we were kids and put them in a jar until we tortured them to death. So we ran out of garden space after planting, and we planted all the way down along here, about 40 feet long. And then we rolled out some more plastic here, about 40 feet long. Then we rolled out some more over here, about 12 foot long. And we put soaker hoses down for everything. Because the world's going to hell in a handbasket, in case you ain't noticed. Nothing's going to get cheaper. So the more food we can dehydrate and vacuum pack in Mylar bags or can in jars or eat, is more I ain't got to buy at the store, the more money I'm saving. Or I'm going to have food, I should say, because you ain't going to save no money with these prices going on. You're going to spend it on gas or clothing or something. Here's some more of that sick corn. We did it Indian Native American style. We planted corn, green beans, and squash all in the same location. The squash funnels the water into the roots of the plant. The corn is like a stake for the green beans. And they all grow together in harmony. And then over here we have some impatiens in a line right next to the squash there. And these are tomato plants. These are a cherry variety. Midnight snackers or black cherry tomatoes. This looks like a larger tomato variety, like maybe an early girl. They're setting pretty big. Definitely not cherry. There's some bush beans in the back of some sort there by the poles. Incidentally, I built this roof over my Bilco doors to keep the water out. And they were always being left open or slammed and cracking the caulk. Well, this particle board rotted out and the roof caved in, but the shingle layer was good. Everybody said just rip it down and build a new one, but that's like $1,500 with today's prices. So I put up some free scrap plywood and screwed it and blocked it where it was caving in, and I put a new free 2x4 across the end here, and I left it long on purpose to hang some hanging pots on. I had 3, but they were too close together, so I spread them out. I put some in the peach tree over here on the dead side of the peach tree. I just planted some potatoes in this mulch cover here, which has tieback under the mulch, just to see how they do. And I put mulch in this pot to see if it helps them keep from drying out. Natural mulch would be better, but I just used the brown dyed stuff I had here. And then this is another one. This is cucumber, pepper plant, the tomato plant, onions. And then here's another bucket with some tomato plants. I put a potato in there today too. This has got eggplant, pepper or potato plant, tomato plant, pepper plant. This is a pumpkin or something growing right out of the pot. And this is these heart-shaped leaves are a sweet potato. And then as we walk back, we got all kinds of melons and squash and cabbages growing here in the plastic. Tomato plants. Like this is a little one flowering already. It's confused. There's a watermelon plant and a truckload of watermelons. It just goes on and on and on here. Over here is a banana tree. That's gonna have to go in a greenhouse for the winter. It's got some tomato plants growing in there. I'm sorry, not tomato plants. Where am I? My head today. Strawberry plants. Then back here we have some more beans and melons and squashes, winter squashes, tomato plant there, some beans, another tomato plant, and another little one there. This is a pear tree. Pears are setting pretty good. I can get over here. I'll put my hand behind it so you have some contrast, because they're all green right now. They're just little suckers now, the size of a bigger marble. We're going to do some air layering on that in the future. This is a peach tree here, but half of it, that one branch I got stuff hanging on is dead. It's been dead for a while, but the other side's growing yet. And I got more on the other side of the home. So we got soaker hose, drip irrigation, whatever you want to call it, hooked up all through here. Then it runs across here where there's some more flowers. And then over here we got that green and white sprinkler hose hooked up. Now in here we got everything under the sun, no pun intended. We've got like 16 tomato plants or better in here. There's a bunch of them across the back. What is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then there's one there. It's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 tomato plants back here in this area. I'm back up here so you can get a view of this garden here. And then all this cabbage is heading up nice. This is an early variety. That's a solid head already. This one's going to be a big one because it looks like a solid head already, but it's real soft. And then we have peppers, eggplants, more peppers flowering, right there. Moving down, there's a bigger, bushier pepper plant. There's a couple Brussels sprout plants here. That's what that is. There's another one there in the back. Red cabbage starting to head up. Sorry, gnat in the throat. Watermelon. Looks like this garden's blessed. There's a robin over there under the tomato plants. See if I can get him on camera without spooking him. Shh, be quiet. He's behind the tomato plants right there in the center screen. See how we can get him. He's about 8 feet away. There he goes. So we put these poles up and reinforced them and ran rope from the Dollar Tree along here, tying up the tomato plants. And then you saw us adding this in last year or so. It's mulched all the way up to the front on the side of the house by the garden. There's the patio. There's flowers and stuff planted here by seed that didn't grow yet. There's my pile of free 2x4s I got to do something with. The grass growing nice. We can't keep up cutting it. It's either raining here when we're off and sunny and hot when we're working. It's starting to look like a hayfield. There's the other flower builder we put in. We decided to take the gardens out in the backyard because you can see how shady it is. And this big oak tree kills everything with a natural blight that's beneficial to it, and these walnut trees, but it kills the garden plants. So we don't garden vegetables back here no more. But there's all the flowers and stuff. So this squash is beautifully flowering back here. So anyway, I hope this helps somebody. If you have any questions about gardening, and as we pick more and harvest stuff, I'll do updated videos. But for now, this is June 13th, and this is a 2022, and this is your garden update. Please like, subscribe, and share on social media. Good gardening.